ladies and gentlemen, let's talk itemization and conjoining gameplay mechanics. The very, very, very quick recovering. For those of you not aware what I mean by that, the example I always go to is if combat is good, but the enemy design isn't good, the boss design isn't good, the level design isn't good, the leveling system isn't good, and the equipment system isn't good, then it doesn't really matter that combat is fun, because the overall experience of fighting stuff in the game isn't fun, right? Systems, especially in game design, tend to interlock with each other quite a bit. And in good games, this can lead to all kinds of positives, like just spilling out all over the place, as each of these systems nails it and kind of makes every other system better by how well they interlock and design to each other. I'm going to go to an example of a game I know so well I could talk about it from memory, Super Metroid. A game where the core combat isn't what you'd call super engaging, but the core combat combined with the itemization, combined with the enemy design, combined with the encounter design, combined with the level design, combined with the system built into place to help you restore, combined with the save point system, combined with the flow of and guidance of movement, which is combined with the difficulty curve. All of that makes fighting stuff fun in Super Metroid. All of those systems all interlink to make what is ultimately a fairly simple combat system just kind of pop, right? And it's easy to think of examples of this. Portal 2 is a game where the fundamental, the core gameplay loop of Portal 2 is really, really simple. But all of the many different systems that all kind of conjoin with that system all just kind of make it Portal 2, right? Naturally, I'm talking about that in a negative sense here because this is my life now. I will say, I do not regret this stream at all. Starfield has been a fascinating insight in how not to do game design. I'm going to use Starfield as a textbook example for years of how not to design a video game. So, let's talk about a few systems. In this game, you have, let's start simple. Let's start small. You have a stamina meter. Okay. And that stamina meter allows you to run for about maybe 10 seconds before you have to stop and recover again. And then it takes a while for it to reload. Now, that's already just by itself not really good. But hang on. If you get overburdened, then all of a sudden you basically can't run at all. In fact, you can't even walk at normal movement speed. Instead, you have to go down to walking speed, otherwise you will start burning stamina again. Let me explain what I mean by that. If you are unburdened, you can sprint for a bit and then run. If you are burdened, then you can run for a bit and then walk. What does this have to do with anything? Well, why do you get so overburdened? That's a good question, actually. I think if you were allowed to wait anywhere, this problem would actually have a patch fix, just like it does in Skyrim. Because the common strategy to avoid this in Skyrim is to run until your stamina runs out, wait for an hour, and then run again. Waiting for an hour, of course, taking less than a second. I actually know this from speedruns, but it's the kind of thing that develops rather naturally in Skyrim. It's almost like being able to wait anywhere instead of being forced to sit at a bench is a nice feature in a game like this. But hang on. Lore, why are you so overburdened anyway? Stop being such a pack rat. Put all that stuff in storage. Good point. All we have to do is buy a house and use the storage places in there, which of course you have to craft and have extraordinarily limited space on board. There's very, very little space you can actually store with the stuff in your house. So that's barely a solution. Also, there's no fast travel to your house, any house you get in this game. There's at least 4 that I know of, and none of them have a fast travel point. So that's not really helpful. But you know what? I'm being stupid. There is, of course, a house you have a fast travel point to. That's your ship. Right, of course. No problem. Wait, hold on. Did you know your ship has limited storage space too? In fact, it has extraordinarily limited storage space. Okay, okay. No problem. You just say, Lore, just buy another cargo container, smack it onto your ship. Yeah, yeah. So for those of you who haven't engaged with the shipbuilder, Lydia can literally carry more than our ship. That's not a joke. For those of you who haven't engaged with the shipbuilder mechanic, you may or may not be aware of the fact that the cargo containers are a huge limiting factor on shipbuilding because they increase your mass by more than any other aspect of the ship other than like the reactors, right? So you tack on another cargo thing, your mass goes up by a lot. And mass is the limiting factor, other than money, in order to build your ship. Because you have to upgrade your reactor in order to upgrade the mass you can carry in the ship, which itself also means upgrading your piloting skill and your starship engineering skills in order to be able to gain access to those things to begin with. And then, of course, having the colossal amounts of money to do that with. And then you could have a kind of portable bank. Now, I'm going to pause here for a moment. And we've followed a nice natural chain so far, but I feel like I can make this even worse. You know, I feel inspired by the Starfield devs. So let's talk about other things that are terrible about this. I took notes for this, by the way. So, there's no scrapping or disenchanting in this game. Now, that probably, once again, sounds like a minor thing. Oh, whatever, there's a stamina bar. Who cares, right? But as we just showed, minor things can really escalate the more conjoining systems are connected to them. This is a game in which you are heavily encouraged to mod your gear and to craft and build stuff. Sorry, I should make that 3 separate things. Crafting, building, modding. All 3 of those are things that this game leans into pretty heavily. You cannot disenchant or break down items in this game. Now, if you're not fully comprehending how insane that is, first of all, congratulations on missing out on the last 15 years of way, way, way too many survival games. But second of all, Fallout 4 lets you do that. One of the biggest ways around a bit of the itemization problem in Fallout 4 was the fact that they allowed you to break stuff down. By the way, Skyrim lets you do that too. And by breaking stuff down, you could then have materials to make other stuff. One of the best ways to build up your camp in Fallout 4 was to go loot a whole bunch of random crap and then break it all down into raw materials for building up your outposts. Oh yeah, you remember those outposts in Fallout 4? I'm sure you remember them. Each one of them had their own fast travel point. Now, arguably, Starfield does too. But you know what Starfield doesn't have? Infinite storage and outposts. Oh yeah, did you forget? In Fallout 4, the amount of storage size your outposts have is infinite. So, you can already see, by the way, how this is once again hacking back into the issues with the stamina bar. Everything is kind of connected. This is all one giant ball of terrible. All of this is connected. So, without scrapping or disenchanting or any kind of breakdown thing, you know, it's great from a gameplay perspective, but yeah. Can you just drop stuff? Yeah. Just throw it on the ground. You can be an adult in this game. So, Rax asked a salient question. Is there any infinite storage in this game? Actually, yes. Believe it or not. I did my research. There are a couple of infinite storage lockers in the lodge. Ah, thank God. All I have to do is work. And the lodge even has a fast travel point. Mind you, you can't fast travel, a little overburdened. But there is a fast travel point with infinite storage. Oh, thank goodness. Also, it's not connected to the crafting system. Now, let me break that down in case you missed that. So, when you're, building outposts or crafting things, it draws from essentially a shared global pool of your resources. It doesn't literally have to be in your inventory. It can be in your ship's inventory. It could be your outpost inventory, whatever. The lodge is like a separate dimension. If you want to craft stuff from your infinite storage, you have to actually pull it out of the infinite storage into your inventory and then wander over to go craft with it. Or go out to your outpost, which is probably several load screens that way, in order to go craft with it. Yeah, crafting from storage is such a bare bones and basic quality of life feature that even this game has it. It just doesn't have it with the infinite storage. Oh yeah, that also means you have to put it in the infinite storage. So you're just kind of adding several additional steps on top of everything else. So hang on. Lord, just sell all your crap, right? You don't need to hold on to that stuff. That's a good point. All I have to do is go up to Bethesda, and they're out of money. Because for some reason, Bethesda decided to take, of all the feedback they could have taken, they decided to go back to the Morrowind method of handling merchants, where each merchant has a finite amount of gold, and they spend it, giving it to you. And after however many, I forget, it's like 2 days, I think, the money resets, and they're refilled back up to whatever their cap is. That cap is usually about 5,000 to 10,000 credits. Now that may sound like a lot of money. It is not. It is if you've been watching this playthrough, you'll know that one of the things I've been doing for a long time is I will hit the town, sell everything I can, which is not everything I've got, and then immediately move on with the extra just burden in my inventory until I get to the next vendor or the next reset point, and then sell more things, usually not the rest of what I have to sell either. If I actually bothered to try and sell everything, then I could go around and hit each merchant to sell a bit to this person, and then a bit to this person, to this person, which probably sounds like another bit of that also important padding this game is in love with. But hang on, I know what you're thinking. Lore, you're stupid. Just sell and then wait for 2 days. Have you seen what waiting in this game is like? So, everything I've talked about up until this point in time is not good. But I know I can hear what you're thinking in your head. You're thinking, Lore, all of this is for nothing. All of this has nothing to do with anything. You're stupid, Lore. You're dumb. You're ugly. You're worthless. You should quit streaming immediately and go kill yourself. And you're absolutely right. But hang on. In Oblivion, Skyrim, and Fallout 3, there wasn't really a lot of benefit to having a large amount of money in the games. There were things you could buy, like housing was a big thing in Oblivion, for example. But for the most part, most of that was just kind of bonus points, right? Nothing really fancy or flashy or interesting. So all of this is the kind of thing that I would probably just ding a couple of times and then move on. If not for the fact that Starfield uniquely has a gigantic money sink. It is an absolutely huge money sink, to the point where it's actually kind of bonkers how overtuned it is. As Colgrim just pointed out in chat just like 2 minutes ago, trying to get a good ship in this game is going to cost you hundreds of thousands of credits. That is not an easy thing to accomplish. There's plenty of loot. There's tons of loot. Turning that loot into money, not so easy. Now, hang on. It gets worse. Because in addition to that gargantuan money sink, which is already a problem. Oh god, if this is supposed to be an MMO, that actually would make a disgusting amount of sense. It would make it a better game. It would make sense. Yeah, exactly, Rex. So we have this giant money sink, which itself wouldn't be a problem if not for everything I've just been talking about for the last about 14 minutes. So there's the chain. It's how many of you have played like any kind of logistics game? Because that's what we're doing here. I'm demonstrating. I started off with the stamina bar, and every single one of the points I'm bringing up is part of the same overall chain. It's a whole part of the same production line of awful. So, this game, of course, has scaled difficulty. Now, it's pretty much the Skyrim approach to scaling, as opposed to, say, the Oblivion approach. And I will give this game one and only one thing. Oblivion's approach is worse. The way that Oblivion's scaling works is probably the worst scaling I've ever seen in gaming. So, I'll give you that one. But scaling in this game does still exist, especially for most of the, let's call them the trash encounters. Now, that's, of course, a problem on the ground, but on the ground, well, you still gain access to new weapons and new items, new gear, new mods. Cool. There are methods to overcome that. What about space? Right. So, the problem here is that the enemy ships, it's pretty much the exact same problem that scaling usually has. Enemy ships continue to get better universally. Better shields, better engines, better avoidance, better missiles, better targeting. Everything goes up each time they increment one scaled level. So, because they are percentage scaled, and you are not, it's really suddenly hard to keep up with that. Oh, but don't worry, you tell me. No problem. Obviously, all you have to do is keep your ship up to date fully. Which brings us back to the money sink problem. To actually keep your ship up to date is kind of a thing. Now, we've been kind of bouncing around that, if you've been paying attention. Partially because we're playing on turbo freaking easy mode. But even I have actually come close to ship death multiple times, because my ship is well behind the curve. The only thing I've really been making an effort to upgrade is my freaking guns. And my strategy has quite literally been to kill the enemy before they kill me. Now, that's worked out for me, but you could see how I'm kind of bugging out the system, not actually engaging in it. It's also worth noting that those extremely good guns I have access to not only require levels and investment into talent points, but also having done an entire quest chain. Just point that out. Anyways, oh, also, I knew that. I knew those guns were very, very good. They're actually imbalanced, the 4 weapon types that exist in this game. Nothing really tells you that the guns I'm using are the best guns in the game because they're badly designed. So that's kind of a walkthrough-itis, in addition to the fact that I'm using guns that are badly designed. Okay? Listen, Walker. Yeah, so for those of you not aware of what I mean by that, there's missiles, there's ballistics, there's turrets, which we haven't actually poked at, and then there's particle weapons. Particle weapons are just better across the board. They absolutely destroy every other damage type in the game. Nothing indicates that. In fact, that's probably not even deliberate if we're being honest with ourselves, but they are. Particle weapons absolutely crush everything else, so there's no reason to use any other gun in the game other than particle weapons. It is a waste of energy and time and money in a game where money is already tight for all the reasons we're already talking about. Truthfully, I do not, Jesse's Mask. Of all the theories I have about this game, the fact that the game is so demonstrably worse than Morrowind, Oblivion, Fallout 3, Skyrim, and Fallout 4, and I've made all of these points individually, is confusing to me. Moving on. So ships are a huge money sink. You know what, Lore? You're stupid. Because you haven't been paying attention to the fact that the ship vendors have a huge money pool, so you could sell tons of stuff to them. You're right, of course. I'm so sorry. I forgot about that. Except for the fact that you can only sell ships and ship parts to those vendors. So the only vendors that have tons of money pool that you could dump items on only take ship stuff. No issues. No problems. We'll just go, we'll wander out. We'll take out enemy ships. We are encouraged to loot enemy ships, grab it, take it back to town, and sell the ship. That's not actually a bad mechanic, except for the fact Then in order to do that, what you have to do is you have to register the ship. And registering ships always costs 90% of the estimated cost of the ship in question. Once you have paid 90% of the ship's cost, you can then sell it for about 50% of the cost of the ship. Can you do math? While we're here, we're drifting a little bit, but while we're here, these are all very good questions, Blade Jamal. You're probably thinking, well, at least the shipbuilding mechanic's good, right? Right? Oh no, I haven't actually added the negatives I was just about to talk about yet. So let's use a hypothetical. Let's say that you have decided, you know what? I don't want to steal enemy ships in order to sell them because I can't. Instead, why don't I go ahead and I go find an enemy ship and then rip parts off of it to put into my storage of ship parts that exists, and then I'll go back to my ship and then pull from my pool of parts and use that to kind of build up my ship. Okay, that's a cool idea. You can probably even have multiple ship types for multiple mission profiles. Cool, awesome idea. So there is no storage of ship parts. The only way the system works is a threadbare menu-based interaction. What I mean by that is anytime you get rid of a ship part, you sell it, and anytime you add a ship part, you buy it for the minuscule sell price or the full sale price, respectively. So, for example, if you did what I just described and pulled a gun off another ship, and what I mean by that is sell it, and then went to your ship to add that gun to your ship, you're actually still losing out on money because you have to essentially buy the ship part full tilt. You have to pay full price for it because, again, it is surface level menu-based interaction. You cannot salvage ships is what this really is boiling down to. Related complaint. This is finally at the point where we're probably drifting off a thing, but did you know you can't actually design the interiors of your ships? Now, we've known that for a while, but it's actually worse than I thought. So there's several mechanics in the game that nothing tells you about that dictate how interior design works. And it has to do with which parts are connected in what order to which other parts. There's a whole algorithm that the game does in order to design, in order to make it so that there's like a ladder here, or there's a staircase here, or there's a port here, etc. Do you remember the giant crab ship we built? One of the things that was intended with that was for it to be like a thing where you could just kind of run through it like this, and then maybe go up to the second story and then run through it like this. If you remember, I had trouble navigating that ship because, and you probably don't remember this, I'm sure, but I was actually having trouble navigating it because the interior made absolutely no sense whatsoever. Now, with the advantage of hindsight and understanding, that makes sense because I didn't put the pieces together in the right order. Instead, I was just kind of piecing them together, regardless of when I put which part to which. But the game designs the interiors based on when you connect what to what. Oh yeah, there's also a dice roll involved while we're on the subject. So, stamina, storage capacity, no scrapping or disenchanting, finite storage, limited vendor money, the wait time problem, limited player storage, the only infinite storage not being connected to crafting, the money sink problem, and everything connected to the shipbuilding problem with regards to not being able to salvage, not being able to sell, and the fact that you pretty much have to be keeping your ship up to date because otherwise you're screwed. All of these systems interlock to make the game a whole lot worse. I gotta decide how many negatives that is. You may, if you've been looking at the notes in the actual document, you may or may not notice there's just 3 negatives there. But those aren't 3 negatives. That's just my notes. Like those are fake negatives. I was just being lazy and using the review document to take notes. Yeah, exactly. This is system disharmony. That is exactly what's going on here. Because almost everything I just talked about makes everything else worse. Even the core fact that you have to keep your ship updated is related to the stamina bar. There's a couple of steps in between those two things, but it is related. That's right. I was following in Bethesda's footsteps. Yeah, no, this is why I've made the point several times that while Starfield has been bug fixing regularly, credit where credit is due, they have not been doing any overhauls or fixes. Everything I've been talking about is the kind of thing that would take a dedicated team months to repair. Now, I want you to be honest with me. Do you believe that Bethesda will, not can, will actually bother to do so? I say this from a perspective of aggravation and pain, Rax. Reximus asks, why do I think it is they're not going to fix it? Because they're not going to do it. So I say this from a biased standpoint. I think it is because Bethesda's core development team is so goddamned prideful that they cannot acknowledge that they have done wrong. I think that they are so dinosaur mentality, so stuck in their ways, and so committed to that they essentially refuse to acknowledge that they have screwed up. And remember, I talk about this a lot. You can't do better unless you first know you did bad. You have to be willing to accept loss in order to improve. This is true in a lot of aspects of life. And I don't think they're willing to accept loss. Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 is still doing fundamental changes to the game, fundamental patches. Like, they're still adding content, for Christ's sakes. Yeah, what's really funny, you know what game acknowledged that they lost and has been getting better pretty much every major patch? Fallout 76. We all like to point to Fallout 76 as like the crap game. But credit where credit is due. Real effort has been put into improving that game pretty much ever since it came out. How much that succeeded? Debatable. But real effort has been put into making it a better game. All right. Yeah, 76 actually has story and NPC and quest arcs and boss design and level design and like new mechanics and more engaging outpost building and all kinds of cool stuff. Me and my friends are actually looking forward to our Fallout 76 playthrough. We've already bought the game. We're ready to go. It's just, it's in the queue. All right. Thank you, Dragon Player, very much. Always appreciate those subs. Thank you. I know I said literally yesterday that I wouldn't do any more rant speeches, that I would just push through the game. But the problem is, I really had to break this whole thing down. I thought about doing it while doing the quests. Yeah, I'm sorry, what's the doot block? This was something that had... look at this. Doom block, thank you. You'll notice it's taking me 30 minutes to break all this down. This took so much work and effort. I actually spent time off camera. I spent real time of my real life wasted on this game. Reverse engineering, Reddit combing, looking through mod lists, and trying to figure out the fundamentals of how this game worked to better understand it, so that I could properly comprehend just how badly designed this game is. Oh, fun fact. One of the biggest ways to avoid interlocking system disharmony? A central design document. Anyways, so moving on. No, Blade 2. I mean, other than what I already found yesterday, no. And yes, No Man's Sky is a game, unlike Fallout 76, which I'm not sure about. No Man's Sky is a game I can recommend right now, and have. Speaking of which, I recommend No Man's Sky. It's a good game. It's actually got a straight-up co-op mode now, which is pretty fun. I think Bethesda, any studio can salvage itself. So yes, absolutely. I have been around the gaming industry too long to believe that there is such a thing as a studio or a team or an IP that can't salvage itself. Because I've played the worst video game that's ever been made. Like, I could name dozens of examples of that. No, Dragon Player. I can name dozens of examples of that. But I'm just going to go straight for the jugular. FF14 1.0 was the worst game I have ever played in my life, objectively, in addition to subjectively. And now it's FF14. There's nothing else to add to that. Do I think they're going to salvage themselves? Now, that's a much more interesting question. Let me phrase it this way. Again, speaking from a very biased and pained perspective, do I think Bethesda, of their own volition, will improve? No. Do I think they might be forced to improve from an external power, like, say, their owners? Microsoft. Little more possible. Microsoft has... I don't want to hold them up as the golden boys because they most assuredly are not. But Microsoft has a proven history of being hands-off with their development studios until they screw up. The moment they do, they get right involved. You know, I'm actually not sure, Dakota, honestly. Yes to all three, and Diddy. Sony? And that's my answer to that. No, Humble Magnus, not at all. I'm not sure Bethesda's ever needed Todd Howard. Todd is ostensibly the game director. Multiple interviews have said that the closest thing to a mainliner Bethesda have is Todd Howard, that everything goes through him. Now, if that's true, that implies a lot. I think that's everything. Oh, yeah. And this is unrelated to the giant ball of negatives I just gave to this game. But let's say you're playing, I don't know, a Fallout game. And let's say Prika donates a sub. And I say, thank you very much, Prika. Then I remind Prika that they can put that towards up to 3 things if they would like to. But either way, I appreciate your support. Thank you. You're playing a Fallout game. You can specialize into small guns, heavy guns, let's say so small guns, heavy guns, melee, or energy weapons. Which one do you think you'd pick? Just pretend you've never played a Fallout game before. It's just you've given these 4 choices. I admittedly tend to go small guns as well. Or heavy guns if I'm going that way with it. All right, now, I want you to imagine for a moment that whichever one you just picked only has 6 weapon types in the entire game. One of which, yeah. By the way, that is energy weapons in this game. Now, what's really funny about this is it's not like that wouldn't be the end of the world if not for the good joining systems connected to it. It's becoming something of a trend. Because there's no respec. Because there is no respec, and you have very few ability points to give, and it takes a lot of ability points to get further down into the trees, you have to be very careful about where you put your points, and you have to think very carefully about how you're going to spend them as you go down. So you're probably only going to pick one weapon type. And you're just going to focus on that one weapon type. Period. That's the one thing you're going to zoom in on. So if you go all in on energy, well, congratulations, you're stuck with it. And you'll notice we've only found, I've actually been paying attention, we did finally find one other energy gun in this playthrough so far. And that's counting the cutter. So we're up to 2 of the 6 types so far. Oh yeah, that reminds me, this game's, so speaking of connecting systems, the loot tables in this game are connected to the level scaling. Now that makes sense, that's normal. But the problem with that is it's not like, well, Oblivion, right? In Oblivion, you got, oh, hang on, let me actually look this up. Give me a sec. No, the pistol was physical. Remember, we double-checked that, quite a. But the carbine, which I actually think I still have on me, is what I was referencing. Let me make this point very clearly. So in Oblivion, you are specialized into heavy armor. So when you're low level, you get iron armor, then steel starts dropping, then dwarven, then orcish, then ebony, then daedric. But the important part here is that all of that is heavy armor. In Starfield, you start to just continue this equivalent. You will start off with heavy armor, you'll start off with iron armor, and then you'll get steel armor, and then you'll get glass armor, and then you'll get chitin armor, and then you'll get daedric armor, and then you'll get, I don't know, like something else that I can't think of. It bounces around. It's not, this is actually something Fallout 3 made the same problem. It bounces around, not just bone mold. Thank you, bone mold. It's not just the fact that it's improving the quality of the drops. It is changing the specific category of drops. I've actually looked into Starfield's loot tables a bit. It's not a vertical line. It's a, nobody designed it. So you can actually effectively level yourself out of gear that you prefer to use in this game. Or into it, as the case may be. So that's something also to jot down. Sorry. I mean, the answer's obvious, Miranda SC. It's because Bethesda is the big AAA developer and Obsidian is the smaller AA developer. Be funny to see if that switches soon. There is no respec loader. In all honesty, the negative I just gave, I probably wouldn't even give it if there was a respec, because at that point, oh, I'll just, I'll switch to heavy guns, right? Avowed is going to be a very interesting insight into how modern Obsidian is doing. Because Grounded was an extremely good game, but it also wasn't an RPG. Microsoft owns Fallout, Reggie Brock. Has there ever been respec in a Bethesda game? Ooh, auto carrots. Skyrim has a respec? Ah, it does in the DLC. That would explain why I didn't know that. If you have the Dragonborn expansion, you can spend 1 dragon soul per tree to remove perk points out of the tree. Huh. Did not know. Now, very unrelated to anything, I'm going to go ahead and bow now. Bow, bow, bow. Very unrelated to anything. Thank you very much, Evo. And I didn't even see you there when it's crazy. No, I legitimately didn't know that Dragonborn added that respec. I think I might have found that out at some point, just forgot it. I should mention I've only played Dragonborn once on stream. Okay, so Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous, Landscape Torment. Oh, I want to take a drill to my head, Loke. And Overlord 2. So, we have now spent 46 minutes giving an additional about 10 negatives to the game. If I could just say something really quick here, and I'm only really saying this for myself. I do actually take my goddamn job seriously. It always kind of irritates me when I get one of those comments that say I'm lazy, or say that I don't care, or say that I'm not really a professional reviewer, or whatever, you know. Because those people wouldn't know a professional reviewer if it came up and gave them a really big hug and a donut and a nice talking to. To be blunt. Like, I don't know what to add to that. That's true. Professional reviewers can't play video games. They have to have the IGN difficulty option. Yeah, no, you're right. The problem is those people just don't like my opinions, and that's fine. It depends on how you define professional. But yeah, no, I am paid money to review games. By definition, I am a professional game reviewer. I will admit, and I don't want to sound pretentious about this, but in my head, I think of this as an analyst job more than anything else. Like, because that's like the focus, right? Analyzing, trying to dissect. Sure, Starfield's a bad game, but anybody can tell you that. Why is it a bad game? Let's break it down. Let's chop it up. Let's get out the cleaver. Okay. Listen, Magister, I'm not going to admit that I still have that just right here on command at will. Anyways. Yeah, also F for Iwata. Best frickin' CEO that I'm aware of, like in gaming history. What? Iwata. Judo. Unfortunately, past tense.
Up some of these panels. Ah, I miss coming up here. We should visit Vlad more often. Down in a jiff. Let me just check a few more things.
Nice work! Didn't burn your hand off. That's a win.
That is Adam Jensen.
This scanning equipment needs to be installed. I could use your help.
Of course.
If you could help me install these parts. I think we are done. Thank you.
Listen, I'm trying to zoom in on your mouth as much as humanly possible, but apparently I literally cannot zoom in on your mouth. So. Right, I need to fix that really quick. I hope it goes well for you, Brooklyn. By which I mean, I mean routine. Yes, by the way, that is a one-sentence description of a cutscene instead of a cutscene. That's literally what just happened. Listen, we all know, we've all seen Tifa in the bikini. It's fine, it's fine. Her boobs are great. But
setting up some software. Want to test the computer over there?
sure, let's do a cutscene. Boom. Done.
This system the first time. Now, how did this work?
Lend, just grab a wrench. Should be
That is
quick.
some fine teamwork.
Well, you heard her, everybody. You pick up a wrench and help tighten down the equipment. But there's a spark and a small explosion of smoke from one of the electrical boxes.
Well, I'm certain that wasn't supposed to happen. Check with Vladimir?
Oh, sorry. Was just doing some math in my head. Trade the gaps with you? You color the wrong wires. Station showing red.
Yeah, some kind of problem.
Nastier than I measured. Figured a few of the parts might be iffy, but this is going to take more than a span.
Oh, I should have checked the compatibility when we made the order. I can stay with you until we get all this fixed.
No need for the martyr's clothes, but I'm happy to have the help. As for you, while we're giving the eye the swords, need to tip your ear on another matter when you got the time.
Listen, they only had 8 years to make this game, even, okay? These poor people. I feel so badly for them. They had so little time to make this game. We'll go down. Oh, yeah, these poor indie studios, they're taking in the pants.
Don't want to worry anyone, but we got more competition. Not Starborn, rival collector. Captain Petrov owns a salvager vessel called the Scow. Runs it like a palace of novelties. And he's got a new prize in his collection.
Okay.
Reached out through my hand-to-hands to see if we can do an honest swap. He says the rock ain't for sale for any price. Think we're gonna need a crowbar and bag for this one.
Okay.
Left the life of a jacob once behind myself. I know what I'm asking. But I see a clutch prize not up for the prying any other way. Not sending you lone hook on the job. I want Barrett with you on this one. You two will be foot to foot the whole way, so make sure you're ready.
Okay, let's go.
Catch a smile out there.
I mean, no, I've had that theory for about a week at this point, Blancheval. My friend Pax mentioned that as well. 8 years. Yeah, no.
I have something for you.
Sorry, I apparently cannot fast travel while docked, which means I have to watch a mandatory loading screen to then immediately be able to fast travel. Have I mentioned this game has some seconds and minutes problems? Congrats, Cord. Obsidian? That's a good question, Emo. I'd say 50-50. Whoa. Seconds in minutes is the idea.
You don't have business with the scow. Our captain is not taking visitors.
Persuasion check.
No one uninvited boards the scow. Captain's orders.
I've heard stories.
The captain does love letters.
Mind control.
I think... No. Stop it. You're trying to confuse me.
How did that fail? Anyways, I'm here to buy one of your things.
We could use the money. I don't know if you'll convince the captain, though. All right. I'll clear you to dock. Keep yourself out of trouble, or we'll have every hired gun in the cargo bay after you.
Yeah, the whole idea behind the seconds and minutes concept is it's not typical padding. It's stuff like this. That was only 7 seconds long. That's not long. But it happens constantly. It is adding seconds to every minute. And that adds up. And God, it adds up so much. Yeah, bending over to loot a chest, taking a moment to load the menu, taking a moment to load the conversations. Yeah, every time you play FF9, it goes dun da 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 da, and the camera does a spin. Do I ever cringe at something I did in previous streams? Well, yeah, all my previous streams suck, including yesterday's. Don't watch it. It's terrible.
We'll let you on board. Thought Petrov was done hiring mosquitoes. Or maybe you're after something from the captain's collection.
Yes, actually.
Oh yes, The Rock.
Good luck, Ryman.
But if you want to hear him laugh in your face personally, go right ahead.
Yeah, we'll check with him directly if you don't mind.
Go on then.
Do you know where he got this rock?
Trade it for some dusty hauling ore from the fringe. Was glad when he left. It's all shakes and muttering.
Yeah, if you ever start bugging out, it's because I'm mind controlling you. Side effects also include
Petrov's Palace of Peculiarities, the pinnacle of perfect procurement. The beacon of prosperity. Ha ha ha!
But your ship's a dump. Like, this isn't even a proper showcasing of your collection. What kind of collector are you?
Yikes. Full body chills. It's absolutely freezing.
That's literally just a giant pile of trash in the background there. It's just giant piles of junk. Look at it. Literal, just piles of debris. You know, I'd be impressed by this, but I've seen everything here before. In fact, I've sold several of these items already. So I'm not actually impressed, sorry. I haven't sold one of those yet.
Okay, hello.
You hear there's alien creatures on board the ship? Phew. Captain calls it a zoo. You meet Vadek yet? The captain's right hand. I've never seen a man so exhausted.
A lot of the guards here. Bounty hunters, smugglers, salvagers from the fringes. A lot of shark smiles, you know?
See you around, Cord. Have a good one.
Talk to Petrov. His gloriousness will guide you.
Give me what I ask or I'll kill all of you.
I wasn't aware we had the visitors. Vadek, you didn't tell me we had visitors.
We have visitors.
Excellent. Now that you've gone to all this trouble to get here, you should make yourself at home. Relax. Kick up your feet on the tables. I don't care they have scorch marks on them anyway.
I am such a fan. Your collection's legendary.
Oh, flattery, huh? My favorite pastime, huh?
Also, yes, Evo.
Between you and me, I do have something very special in the vault. But my jealous heart knows no bounds. I want to keep it all to myself.
Petrov! It's me!
Barrett? You dare show your face in my ship again?
Hey, you still sore about that? Engines blow up all the time.
Ha! You old son of a space flea. It's good to see you.
Hey, old pal. How about a tour of the vault? Let me wallow in my jealousy one more time.
Of course! Come with me. I know. People look at me and say, Petrov, your whole ship is a testament of splendor. Why do you need a special vault? Well, all I can say is that even the greatest collection needs its own private viewing area. Plus, between you and me, there are thieves everywhere.
No.
So I spared no expense. Every door between me and my treasures is painful, but that is the price of security, huh? Que sera? Just a bit further. This ship and I have been through some adventures, I'll tell you. I once collected salvage from a Deimos Celestial class while it was exploding. The crew was scraping scorch marks and bits of metal off the hull for weeks. And of course, there was the time I accidentally steered us into a UC Navy vessel after a particularly uproarious celebration of my latest acquisitions of fine art. But we were wedged perfectly between their two thrusters, and were able to just kind of push them back into the star yard for repairs.
Well, I don't want to kill him, Mr. Red. That's saying a lot for this game. Whoops. No, really, everybody's such a dick in this game. Hi, Ross.
And now, the moment itself.
Ah! How many of you in chat even recognize what that is?
The man who sold me this told me that it spoke to him. That holding it for the first time was like drowning in your own soul. Alas, I've held it several times, and my soul is still breathing, devoid of any such enlightenment.
I'll do anything. I'll do anything.
Oh, no. No. I can't. This one is mine.
Like 3 centuries Star Wars.
It's only fair to warn you. Hands off. I would hate to sour our new friendship by becoming the victim of piracy.
Look, I really don't want to kill you.
We're not pirates, Petrov. We're explorers. Who might do a bit of piracy on the side as a hobby sometimes.
There's nothing I can do to change your mind.
I'm afraid not. I'm easy in all things, except my collection.
So our options are, I need the artifact, grab the artifact, or murder him in his face. I do like face murdering. I really need that artifact, Petrov. It's MSQ, okay?
Then I suppose it's just a question whether my immeasurable love for my collection and my crew of hired cutthroats is enough to stop you. Go ahead. Make a move for the artifact. Let's see what happens.
Would it help if I said we needed it for scientific research?
So, while we're talking about the game not telling you about core mechanics, did you know that certain specific treats here, like say the intimidation thing, like this is what intimidation says. Take a moment. Read that. I'll actually be right back. Sorry. Actually have to AFK for longer than I thought, but real quick. So you see the Intimidate thing. You could force a target to flee, force a target up to 10 levels, or they now flee for a substantial amount of time. Sounds useless, right? Nothing tells you that having these talents, and it's not even specific ones, it's not even the whole thing, you have to have specific ranks, will add certain specific dialogue options into the persuasion mechanic in the game, which are guaranteed successes if you pick them. Nothing tells you that. Same thing for diplomacy, by the way. Now I'll be back after a couple minutes. I apologize. Telling you. Whoops. Game is just cursed. I can't seem... Oh, I can't seem to freaking stream this game. Not getting constantly interrupted. Alright, now while I'm standing right in front of this guy, I'm going to take off all my money, or clothes. There we go. Much better. See? So, Captain Petrov. Hang on. Hang on. Had it for a second. Oh, excellent, Evo. Did you decide to get the scallops? Aw. It still aggroed them. Oh, well. I tried. It's scripted? But... that doesn't even surprise me. Alright, whatever, bye.
I was wondering if this was going to happen.
Yeah, no, the moment I was about to complain that this was on rails, since, you know, this is a perfect example of a quest that should have multiple methods to progression. But, well, here we are.
You're nothing.
Yeah, like, surely there was some way to go through that other than kill or, well, you know, that. Alright, whatever. Bye. It really does, Junk Garage. Maybe that's it. Maybe Todd Howard is just a terrible GM. Now, because I'm curious... hang on. See you around, MZ. Have a good one. And they're all dead. No consequences for that. Just, you know. I'm going to undo that. I went out of my way not to kill people. Let me guess. It's going to be like, you're in combat and can't warp. Yeah, that was the only VHS tape left in existence, Reggie. And Dell.
This is UC Security. Prepare to be scanned for contraband.
Okay.
Be advised, you have been identified as a known criminal. You're on the wanted list. Halt and prepare to be boarded or we will be forced to open fire.
Okay. Here you go.
Copy that. Stay on course while we escort you in.
Cool. Oh no, I lost Solomon's maps. No. Hope I didn't lose the artifact, because that would actually be kind of funny. In a not so funny kind of a way. That's a good question, Dakota, which I do not have an answer. Yeah, that's what I assumed, Dakota, especially given how paper thin so many of the mechanics in this game are. You want to hear something wild, Mr. Red? First of all, I will defend several BRPGs as being legitimately good or even great games. But in line of that, let's talk about Fallout 3 for a second. There was an interview done by several of the lead designers at Bethesda about 8 months ago, so just 2 months before Starfield came out. One of the things they talked about was how, when they were developing Fallout 3, one of the central not design documents they were thinking that they had going for them. Sorry, I'm memeing a little bit. I shouldn't do that. One of the central tenets they had in quest design was the player can kill everybody.
By the way, Captain.
So they insisted that every single quest in the game have at least one other way to do it. That wasn't the intended path. Now, sometimes they did more than one other way. Sometimes they did more than two, and sometimes they did more than three. But every single quest had at least one polishing pass to ensure that there was always at least one other thing you could do just in case the player killed someone or screwed things up. And that was just normal design philosophy throughout the whole course of the game. Hello, dear sister. Question mark? Please don't put this in my mouth, for real. I just swished. And my throat hurts.
You're not allowed to eat these.
Okay, I can do that.
Unless you're on camera.
Okay. That's terrifying. So I think she got me some of those every flavor beans.
No.
Oh, okay.
These are the ones that I was supposed to give you after Christmas. I gotta go, I'm running late.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Bye, stream.
She says bye, stream. Now, I don't know if the developers intended that Oblivion, but I know Oblivion extremely well, and I have a modern review of it. So yes, Oblivion is absolutely like that. Oblivion has multiple ways to progress through its quests. And just because I feel like showing off, I actually have two additional blankets behind me here. So first, there's the Mega Man one, which is great. This is the Mario one. My niece was playing with it yesterday, so it's a little off center right now. It looks like this. And this one is actually, well, you can kind of see what it is. It's my logo. It doesn't quite fit, but you can at least see Runner. Well, you can almost see Runner right there. Yeah, this is my this is my poster in blanket form, and this is my logo in blanket format. I am the Gunner. The lore Gunner. Give me your lore. And yes, this is a hat and a fedora. Or I mean, wow, lore. This is a shark in a fedora. This is a shark in a tricorn. Any questions? All right, so.
He was looking for you. Sounds like he's got
Vladimir. Vlad, come in. Come in.
Okay.
The eye's gone completely dark. I can't reach anyone on the station.
I will go there immediately.
Starborn came out of nowhere.
Vladimir, get out of there!
He already left. Said he was going to the lodge.
Well, hang on, Vladimir. We'll come there for you.
She's still breathing, but oh God, all that blood.
Hello, Constellation. Are you there?
Who are you? What did you do to our friends?
They call me the Hunter. And now that I'm here, your part in glimpsing the Unity is over.
I think he might be evil.
I'm already on my way. Say goodbye to your friends. It won't be long.
Forget about us. That Starborn bastard is after the artifacts. You can't let him take them. Pack up the collection, move it somewhere they can't find it.
Damn it. Vladimir's right. We need to get the artifacts packed up, and that means holding off the Starborn.
What about everyone on the Eye? We can't leave them to die up there.
I mean, I can't leave my one true love.
Look, I get it, but our best chance is staying here.
I don't know how long it's gonna take to pack up the artifacts. I'll get started. Hopefully this will only take a few minutes, if my hands can stop shaking.
Hold up.
Take cover, everyone.
I have a choice?
Do you really expect them to barge through the front door?
That's right, Walter. He's just stopping by for a chat and a pot of coffee.
Okay, so in a good game, I would sit and think about this choice for quite a while. I'm actually not familiar with that meme act. I'm sorry.
Could you all keep it down? I'm trying to work here.
Yeah, I think I'll go to the Eye. Let's go to the Eye.
If you're going to leave, I'll be barricading the door on your way out. Won't be able to let you back in for anything.
Are you all right?
Wait, what? What just happened?
Hello, again.
Oh, you're kid flagged. Of course you are. There we go.
There's never enough time, is there?
You have a lot of health. Okay.
Give Noel time.
Does anyone know what that field is? Bullets are bouncing right off it.
I have all the artifacts. Everyone, follow me. There's an old escape tunnel to the well district. Come on.
Persistence.
This is extraordinarily scripted, which doesn't surprise me, because this is Fallout 4. Another complaint I had about that game was how scripted it is. Yeah. God, he does look like an Institute agent. Based on what we just saw, I'm guessing this is not supposed to be possible to beat. I'm pretty sure the only reason I even dented his health is because we have the difficulty cranked down, which reduces their health. Yeah, I'm sure if I TGM'd and stood there for several minutes, wasting precious minutes of my life on this game, then yeah, I probably could kill him eventually. Okay. He's a dick. Got it. He's a teleporting dick. Got it. God, that'd just be the worst, wouldn't it? A teleporting dick. Oh, you're right, Takoida. It's actually entirely possible that the only reason we could damage him is because of the proc, the flame proc. Because Starfield, Evo. I have superpowers too. Wah! Behold my power. It is the proc. His health doesn't move until he's lit on fire. That's fascinating. That's probably very much unintentional. No, that's actually semi-common. Doesn't mean I'm going to make fun of it any less, but it is at least common. Now, we're going to save really quick. No reason. And then kill him. You know, that's actually a good question, Evo. Okay, that's gonna take too long. He is essential flagged. They gave him 1 billion health, made sure he couldn't be damaged by normal damage, and then flagged him as essential. We never meant you any harm. Why are you doing this?
I was merely taking the shortest path to my destination. But now, I think I'll just kick back, enjoy the long road.
Sorry, is that what you call the artifact collection? Good talk.
There's a greater purpose to all this. You might have a larger role than I realized. Mistake on my part. Keep collecting the artifacts. We'll meet again. Maybe you'll glimpse the unity yet.
Could someone do me a favor and look up when Chrono Trigger came out? In Japan. I actually am pretty sure I know exactly who the Starborn are. If you want, I could share my theory in full so we could see if I'm wrong or right later. The only reason I hesitate to is because, you know, potential spoilers. 1995. In March 11th of 1995, a video game came out that had several supposed to lose fights that you could win. And I'm only putting, this is in response to that whole sequence we just went through. Because Plutonia, rightfully, pointed out that in Sekiro, if you really, really could, you can actually beat Genichiro right at the beginning of the game. All the way back in 1995. People had already started figuring out how to make supposed to lose fights that you could win. Anyways, so I'm going to talk about this during the room as well. But here's the thing. What I'm about to say constitutes a fairly large-scale spoiler for this game. It is something that was spoiled for me months ago. It is the only spoiler I had walking into the game. So, on the off chance you do not want to be spoiled about this game, and it is something that has not come up yet, this is your warning. Here, I will go ahead and throw up Star Wars Squadrons. No, hang on. Where's the spoiler picture? Where is it? There it is. Now, this is going to sound like the strangest spoiler I've ever shared. But this game has New Game Plus. And you're probably thinking, Laura, that's not a spoiler. So here's the problem. The mere fact that this game has New Game Plus is actually a spoiler. Now, I didn't realize it was a spoiler until I started playing the game. And it's the kind of thing, this is one of those weird things. If I can derail for just a second, there's a reason I have that phrase, no mentioning. And the reason I say no mentioning is because more people intuitively understand what that means instead of no spoilers. If I say no spoilers, then people only think of things like plot twists or story-related elements. But there are plenty of ways to spoil an experience of a movie, show, book, or game by mentioning things that would otherwise not be considered spoilers, like, for example, the fact that a gameplay mechanic exists within a game. So, for example, the fact that there's a New Game Plus in this game, combined with, and I'm just going to summarize this, everything else, leads immediately to my personal theory on the matter. The shouts would be a good example of a spoiler. Or even mentioning that a game has a twist is something that honestly is a spoiler. Because the moment you know there's a twist, you're looking for it. And it's just not going to have the same impact it otherwise would. Now, as usual, quick boilerplate. If you want to look out spoilers yourself, that's fine. I don't care. But one of the reasons I tend to be so harsh about no spoilers and no mentioning is because I want other people to be willing to and capable of having their own experience, untainted by whatever I have to say on the matter. Anyways. So, here's my theory. This is either Type 2 or Type 3 time travel. Either these are multiple timelines all existing alongside each other, aka the multiverse, or every time we do a New Game Plus, we rewind back through the loop and change things. And that's what the Starborn are. They are other people who have been going boop and either timeline hopping, multiverse, or timeline rewriting, time travel. Which do I prefer? You know me, I hate multiverses, and I hate Type 3 time travel. So I'll take the Type 2. However, I expect with, and I'm going to say this bluntly, 99% certainty that this is actually Type 3 time travel, aka a freaking multiverse. That the unity is going to be the thing that allows people to expand themselves across the multiverse and experience all the different shards of reality and all that other bullcrap. And so I expect that the Starborn are the people who have already done that trip, probably either us or people we already know, and they're just run around doing their own thing for whatever their own particular agendas or reasons are. And eventually we will gain the ability to do that, which will New Game Plus the game, giving us our next loop. Now, in interest of deference and respect, I know a lot of people like multiversal stuff. It is one of the big things that's been cycling around the sci-fi space for the better part of the last decade. It's been very, very common in games, in movies, and in shows to bang that multiverse button. It's one of the this is common in science fiction. There's all the different tropes and concepts in science fiction. And every 10 years or so, one of them is just really, really, really common, and then goes back to just being, normal. So while Mike Romano jokingly says that it's been common in the last century, no, it's been really, really common in the last decade. It's already actually on its way back out, and then we'll get something else up and we'll do that. You remember when it was all about cloning, when that was the big one? How about when mutation was the really, really big one? And so forth. Again, we could look at each decade in history and point to like the one sci-fi trope that everybody was doing for that particular decade, because that's how that works, right? Yeah, we'll probably get AI again, by the way. We've actually had AI before, but that's how that works, right? Scary aliens, whoa, everything dips and everything falls. That's normal. So the multiverse thing has been really, really normal lately. But the multiverse thing isn't super. I don't like it personally for just preference reasons, right? But I have to admit that it can be written badly or poorly, well or poorly. Sorry. Just like anything else can, right? It's a trope. Tropes are tropes. It's how you use it that matters. Having said all that, I almost guarantee that how they're using it, if I'm right, because this is all speculation, how they're using it in this game probably isn't a good execution of the concept. Now, hang on. Sure, Colgrim, hit me. What do you got? Because I was going to share only 9 MSQ left. Oh, thank God. I actually know one other spoiler about the New Game Plus. And it free frames the entire game. I'm not going to share it right now because it's a gameplay thing. It's purely a gameplay thing. But I just wanted to mention that so that when I talk about it later, you'll know where that's coming from. Okay. Oh, really quick, by the way. The reason Rosebud here is the spoiler image, this is actually a precisely designed thing. First of all, it was his sled in English, in North American media, cinematic media, is usually considered shorthand for spoilers. That is the image that is used to describe spoilers. It is also kind of ironic because it's not actually a spoiler. The fact that Rosebud was his sled is not actually a spoiler of that film, as anybody who's actually watched Citizen Kane will tell you. But as a result of that, it's a perfect image and a perfect concept to say when saying a spoiler without actually spoiling anything. If I tell you it was his sled, you are not spoiled at all. Whereas there are several other even well-known examples of spoilers in media, which if I mention it, you'll notice I'm not. But if I were to mention it, that actually is a spoiler and runs the risk of actually spoiling someone. So I use this because this is a universal non-spoiler. This has nothing to do with anything, but it is nevertheless a good hallmark of the concept. Oop. I also use it pretty consistently just on my show, so even on the off chance you don't know what that means in greater context of cultural history, of cinematics, and life, I use that to mean I am currently spoiling stuff, and then I get rid of the image when I'm done. That way people perusing the VODs can know when to check too. The most pretentious thing I ever do. What do I do that's pretentious here? If you're going to insult me, you better come at me swinging. Come on, I'm ready. I'm ready here. Let's do it. Wait, no, I'm not ready. I feel like crap. Why are you beating up on a sick person? Why would you do this, Yura? I could just throw up the spoilers word. I could. But honestly, I think a nice big red image of the iconic image of a spoiler works better than just saying spoilers in text on the screen. My opinion. In a vacuum, do I prefer Type 1 or Type 2 travel? Oh, Type 1. Easily. No question. Now. But you're right, Yura. I will never use it again, except for every time after this. Oh. Oh, God. One of these days we'll actually play this game. There is a bit of branding involved, too. Is she dead?
Sarah? Come on, Sarah. Talk to me. No, not again. I can't bury another member of Constellation, Sarah. I can't. Don't go. She's gone. No.
I should probably feel something here. But, like, I'm more confused than anything else.
There's nothing that will change anything now. We should get moving.
Dad! The others are here. We're going to be okay.
I really messed up on this one, friend. Usually the last guy to get outdrawn.
I'm glad you're okay.
Back at you. I don't think I'm gonna be moving around too much for a bit. But I'll be alright. Oh, thank the stars beyond.
What's a good example of Type 1? Have you seen the Final Fantasy 1 rewrite?
You're alive. Krix's ghost can keep waiting.
Come on, let me help you out.
No tears for the old. Got the others to worry about.
Type 1 time travel is time as a linear line. In other words, all time travel that ever happened always will happen. You cannot alter the timeline because anytime you travel through time, you already did.
He came out of nowhere.
It's okay, my one true lips. I'm right here.
Thank you. I don't think I can move right away. But I'll make it. Go on.
Yes, Trihexia.
Vladimir! Oh, thank goodness! Where's Sarah?
She's gone. We need to talk locks and bolts. Lodge and the Eye are not secure.
Yeah, the Starborn want the artifacts. We need to move them.
Got the right of it.
Hunter, he probably found us because we're somewhere obvious. High populated area, just like how the Starborn found you orbiting Neon the first time. But the fact that they're competing with us to find the artifacts means they can't get them without searching.
Which makes sense if my theory is true.
Put the artifacts somewhere in the fringe, or on something that can slip from their grasp if they do another strike from the curtain.
We can keep them on my ship.
Fine idea. Starborn show up, you can burn helium in one spin of the grav drive to anywhere.
Here, keep the artifacts safe. I guess we'll meet back at the lodge after.
You can now build the armor on your ship or at outposts. Okay. Type 2 act. I was gonna say more Fallout 4 vibes here. Yeah, sure, TSB. Hit me. So you asked about Chrono Trigger's time travel. Would you believe Chrono Trigger actually has two separate types of time travel? I still haven't selected. That's funny. In Chrono Trigger, this is actually true in several settings. The specific type of time travel that happens depends on the method of time travel, right? That's something that Chrono Trigger leans into heavily. So, up until a certain point in the game, you know the point, it's all Type 1 time travel. Nothing you're doing wasn't ever done. Everything you're doing is just completing the events that already happened. The moment you gain a certain tool at the freedom point of Chrono Trigger, it very suddenly shifts into Type 2 time travel, and all of a sudden you can start making alterations to the timeline. Virtually every side quest from that point onwards demonstrates that fact. Could you guys get out of my way, please? Please. What in the world? Oh my god. Oh my god. So, apparently, according to TSB, the companion they kill... Oh, that was... Okay. Is based on the companion you have in your party the most. So... Hold on. So let's just unpack that for a second. That's dumb. Now, No, yeah, I think I'm done. Okay, cool. Any questions? No, I think I've covered it in full totality, Blade Chaval.
Attention. The spaceport has been secured. Safety precautions remain in place. Please wait for the all-clear signal before exiting.
Did you not hear me, Ross? I just explained that. In fact, I went into more detail than I probably should have. Because it's Chrono Trigger, and I like talking about Chrono Trigger. Yeah, I should have played Starfield earlier, honestly. Okay. Really, really briefly.
Thought I'd already seen enough death for a life.
Shut up. The vehicle matters in Chrono Trigger. It's Type 1 up until a certain point in the game, at which point it becomes Type 2. There.
One day, I'm gonna leave.
It's actually one of the better narrative beats of the game, if I might be so bold. No, it's fine, Ross. It's just it's such a cool aspect of the story. Okay, so in properly designed Type 1, if you're like, well, nothing I do matters, then it's because nothing's going to change, then that's what you do, if that makes any sense. Properly designed Type 1 time travel, by definition, means that you have freedom of will and choices that you can make. I've actually tried to explain this before, and it's actually kind of a more high-minded thing, and it might take more time, and I don't feel like delaying Starfield anymore, so that's all I'm going to say about that really quickly. Type 2 time travel usually means a mess, but that's okay, because it can be a really interesting, well-written mess. Type 3, by contrast, is garbage. I mean, can be well-written.
I will be monitoring everyone's vitals.
I need to be checking everyone's vitals. Now, really.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Several people asked if I'm looking forward to Iron Harvest. This is a good time to mention that I've heard from a couple of people who are very into RTSs that Iron Harvest sucks. So this should be fun. Yeah, Type 3 is functionally a multiverse. Multiple timelines. That's it. Simple and plain.
The time. I know. Look, we all feel like we've been kicked into the ground a million times over.
We do?
But I think I have something. I'm serious. If I may, I know our encounter with the Hunter is the last thing anyone wants to talk about right now, but he said something that I can't get out of my mind. Unity. Do you remember that?
I'm not going to argue that, Spartan, but I will say this. If Type 3 time travel is real, that is the most depressing and bleak thing I can think of off the top of my head. That is instantaneous suicide territory. That is so awful. That is... I can't put into words how much that would just destroy my ability to care about anything ever. Yeah, because nothing you do ever matters, and ever did, and ever will. So, I know I just said we need to play through this game, but we need to figure out how many negatives we give the quest we just went through. So, how many negatives do we give that quest? Actually, there is Blade Jamal. I don't remember how, though. It's been a long time since I watched up on Twitch. So, let's see. We've got killing a major character, a plug-and-play major character, which The more I think about it, the more I... Yeah, exactly, my kimono, which is why I've immediately left the topic aside. So... How do I explain this? I could hypothetically see a scenario in which you could kill off a major character and it's a big impacting moment. It's awesome. I'm not going to list examples because all of those would be spoilers. But the fact that they went for the jugular like that and failed, well, that's execution. So that's an automatic negative. The fact that they decided to go plug and play and make it one of the companions you've been using the most, that's kind of awful on several levels. That is... Whew, I'm struggling with words. I'm struggling with words to explain how crap that is. I do agree that it could work hypothetically. I feel like there's an example of a game which does something similar, where like, based on your invisible choices, it determines who dies or something. I feel like that's a thing somewhere. But it absolutely doesn't here. More to the point, we absolutely could have romanced either of those people if we had done the MSQ first. Jesus Christ, Colcrum. So here's what I'm thinking. So obviously, that scene sucks. But I'm feeling a gameplay negative for that. First of all, there's the fact that your choices don't matter. That's true, Henson. Although, thankfully, we have access to more information to be able to judge the game more fairly. I think that's sufficient. So yes, our part in glimpsing the Unity was over. No roads lead to Rome. Oh, wow.
Because he was stopping us, implying that we were getting closer to it. The thing is, I've heard that word before.
No,
It's an
Colgrim.
important concept in Keeper Aquilus' speeches.
The priest? Is the Sanctum Universum going to bless our little crusade of discovery?
It can't be a coincidence. The Sanctum has always believed that answers are out there in the stars. Look, I know it's the longest of shots and the biggest leap of faith I could ever ask us all to take, but...
No, it isn't.
Why not talk to him?
You're an idiot. That is the least... You know what? You are one of the worst written characters in this entire game. And you share that auspicious title with literally every other single character in the entire game, because you are all equally terribly written. The biggest of takes, randomly, like, hey, while the villain was killing us, he mentioned Unity. And there's a priest over there that talks about Unity. Maybe we should go talk to them. That's not a giant leap of faith. That's not the thinnest of margins. That's just, oh, it's the only lead we've got, so let's check it out. It's not even a big ask. It would be a big leap of faith if you asked me to take a leap of faith. You'll notice that's not something that's happening here. What's happening is I'm going to check up a fact, which has been presented to me, to then fact check that fact. A leap of faith would be saying, listen, maybe you should just shoot yourself in the head right now. I know that's a big leap of faith, but I think if you do that, you'll be reborn as a serpent, and then you'll be able to lead the great crusade against the infidels. I know I'm asking a lot of you, but if you just shoot yourself in the head right now, that is a leap of faith. Not, hey, let's go check with Bob down there.
I don't mind taking a detour to gather data. Only thing we'd lose is time, really.
Thank you. I know it's not much to go on, but something about this feels right. I'll meet you over there.
I know now isn't the best time. I need to talk with you later.
What?
I've been thinking a lot about my early days in Constellation lately. Got me pretty nostalgic, and I started digging in some old things. Just sort of reminiscing. I found some of Irvin's last messages to me and thought I'd listen to them again to hear his voice.
That sounds depressing.
It was surreal.
I'm not going to tell you that because it's mean, but it sounds depressing.
So most of the messages were everyday things. Lots of excitedly written news about biodiversity and plant life. But one thing stood out. In one of his messages, he mentioned this job that he took at a mine shortly before he died. He said something terrible was happening there, but the message was garbled after that.
Okay.
True, but this was different. I recognized this pattern from the war. A portion of the message was encrypted. Well, Vasco helped me decipher it. Turns out the message was from Irvin, and he was begging me to help him. The message was short, but his voice was pained. He was so upset.
Sorry.
Yes. Hearing his voice in so much pain was very difficult. Oh, I wish I had noticed this message when he sent it. So in this message, Irvin said he was being framed. He said they'll do it again. He asked if Constellation could send more help.
This is 20 years old, dude.
It is, but I was thinking about it, and well, it's still wrong, right? So I figured, hey, I can do some sort of a remote investigation here, see what I can find out. There's gotta be a paper trail, right? Now, I happen to have a trustworthy contact who knows a bit about law and owes me a favor. I'd need to pay in advance in case there are any access fees or bribes.
Here you go.
That works. I'll tell them to go ahead with the investigation. You know, hearing Irvin's voice again made me want to help him, even though I know I can't. Does that make any sense?
Yes.
I appreciate that. It's going to be hard to get some sleep tonight after all this. But the fact that I'm doing something about it might be enough to help. Hopefully poking around in old records doesn't catch the attention of Hephaestus. Well, anyway, I'll let you know if my contact finds anything.
I do appreciate that act. Lord knows, this whole thing has just been a train wreck for me. Like, obviously I've been sick during this stream, so that's not helping anything, but my God, this came. Yeah, anyways, there's another settlement that needs our help. I'll mark it on your map.
Constellation has suffered losses before.
I cannot, God, my voice. I cannot believe we're going to beat Breath of Fire 2. I'm honestly a little shocked by that. Oh, I absolutely doubt it when people tell me games are good, not good. And you know why? Because one of the most common complaints I heard about back about Outer Worlds was that the game sucked and that it was not good. No, really. That even happened during stream. People kept popping in, why are you playing this crap? And I'm like, I liked Outer Worlds.
By the way, Captain, Sergeant Yubi was looking.
Keeper Aquilus, can we have a moment?
Oh, Mateo. It's been too long. How are your parents? Your mother still struggling with that azalea garden?
No, she figured that out a while ago. Had to adjust the pH levels in the soil. But, Keeper, I didn't come to catch up.
Oh. Well, what's on both your minds?
Is that hat indicative of your frickin' religion? Because if so, I've completely missed that this whole time. That's a good question, Johto. It's certainly on track to that. I really hope this game doesn't surpass Secret of the Stars. But we're not done yet.
Oh, yeah. How humanity comes together. How we are to love each other even as our universe becomes even more complex.
That's not exactly what we mean. Keeper, when you talk about unity, well, does it mean anything else? Something secret?
Perhaps we should talk about this inside.
I love how the bad writing continues. Now listen, Bragwin, we need to talk about the concept of kumquats. And you'll be like, oh, yeah, no, kumquats are, they're a fruit, and I don't care for them personally. They're a bit too tart. And I'm like, yes, but listen, Bragwin, do kumquats mean anything to you? Like, secret? And your response is, maybe we should talk in private. What? Ping to you, Flagant.
Now that we have a little privacy, why don't you tell me exactly what it is that brought you two here?
I mean, that is one of the downsides of having such a long game, Roxy. I've said this before, I'll say this again. A long game gives you more opportunities. More opportunities for pluses, more opportunities for negatives. The longer you make your game, the harder it is to maintain quality. It's one of the reasons StarCraft 2 was so much of an outlier, because most games that get to that length start falling apart at a certain point, right? So this game might actually beat Secret of the Stars, because remember, we smashed through Secret of the Stars in 2 days. We're on day what of this game now? Anyways.
They're like nothing we've ever seen, Keeper. Gravitational distortion, sub-audio harmonic sequencing, unidentifiable energy fluctuations.
I caught half of that. So, these things are unusual? Even in your experience? There have always been mysteries that seem to defy our understanding of the universe, beyond rational thought. We enter life as an act of someone else's faith in us. There's no way of knowing who we will become, and yet the risk is made anyway. So you've pushed into the unknown, not knowing where it would take you. And it's brought you here.
I love that guy just watching us. Remember, he's not frozen. He's just watching us.
I think I can. If you're willing to find your way in the dark for a bit longer, I can give you a path to discovering its meaning.
The hissing wastes, Blade Travel.
There's an old story, far older than the Sanctum Universum, of someone who walked the settled systems and saw every corner of it.
I swear to God, you give me some kind of random explore everywhere quest.
The true meaning of unity. I always thought of it as just a parable for trying to bring humanity together, but maybe it's more.
I swear to God.
In my story, the pilgrim met the founders of the House of Enlightenment and the enigmatic cult of the Varun. And he gave them each a part of the truth. Then he goes to his final resting place to live out the rest of his days in contemplation of infinitum addendum, his addition or contribution to the infinite. But what if the story isn't a metaphor, but a code? A way of finding the pilgrim again, or at least his grave.
That's a very specific phrase.
Yes, something must be there. I just can't put my finger on it. Maybe the answer will become clear when we have more. The House of Enlightenment and Varun have versions of this story.
Oh, okay.
The Enlightened work out of the well here in New Atlantis, helping the poorest citizens find a better life for themselves. Varun worshippers are more enigmatic, but there is a lone zealot that was captured recently for attacking UC ships. I visited her a couple of times. Hopefully, she'll be willing to talk to you as well.
I'll stay here with the Keeper. We need to catch up. And I wouldn't mind asking him a few more questions.
Now, what I believe Blacheval said is very true. Secret of the Stars score got massively boosted because of how extremely dense it was in terms of being bad. So, to use a relative equivalent, the odds of... Whoops. The odds of this game having the same negative density as Secret of the Stars is almost non-existent. It would have to be the inverse of StarCraft 2 to manage such a statistically unlikely feat.
Evening, sir.
Having said that, it will probably, almost assuredly, surpass several of our worst games in terms of raw score. Raw negatives to gameplay and to story, because again, it's so damn long and has so many opportunities to accumulate those negatives. Oh God, Ross. I have a headache. I'm tired. I hurt. My throat's barely working at this point. I just want to crawl into a hole and die. Can I do that? Can I just crawl into a hole and die?
I've got limited. We're doing the best we can here. We're no rely.
Is that it? Jesus. We actually haven't finished Star Trek 6 yet, by the way, Ross. We are at the approach to Kittimer. And that's where we paused. It's a long film and a lot to unpack. It's actually taken us 3 separate sessions to get through it.
There's a lot of work that needs to be done in the well. A lot of people in need. If it's about the financial or food assistance programs, we are backlogged. Don't worry, we're doing everything we can. Oh, you're not? Sorry. Can I help you?
I'm here to talk about the Pilgrim.
The Unity Pilgrim in particular, if that rings any bells.
Listen, I've talked about this with him a ton of times, and there's no record of a Unity Pilgrim, but since you both insist, our early records are mostly administrative. Humanitarian projects, group counseling notes, charity expenditures. But there is a series of exchanges the founding members recorded in a lot of detail. It's the closest thing I have to what Aquilus is describing.
I've also spent several hours off camera, both doing gameplay stuff and doing research on the game, Colgrim.
A man walks into the first House of Enlightenment. The founding members just call him the Drifter. So they think he's a charity case at first, but no, the Drifter asks them a bunch of questions. If your philosophy is built on an individual's own morality, what about the second person? That second person might disagree. Isn't the problem of 2 what you're really looking for? And the founders respond, Each individual must understand how the second person lifts them up. All of human effort is a story of cooperation pushing us forward. And it kind of goes on like that. He comes back every week for a year. Same conversation every time. Second person this, the problem of do that.
Okay.
Honestly, I think the founding members made it all up. There was a little more hesitation being openly atheist in the early days. I think they were experimenting with writing their own scripture. Fortunately, that got abandoned pretty quick. After the records of the Drifter end, you never see anything like it again.
Thank you.
Always happy to help. If you'll excuse me, I've got a lot of aid efforts to coordinate.
Well, what he said was, we said, hi, we're looking for some information. His response to that was, ugh, look, I'm telling you, there is no information to give. However, since you're insisting so hard, I'll go ahead and tell it to you. Remember, at that point in time, we talked to him a grand total of twice. And that's counting both of us, once by me and once by him. Now, I can no longer interact with this door. So that's cool. I like not being able to interact with the doors. This is a good thing. Now, I'm just stuck here forever. The end. Ah! Look, I'm not gonna lie to you, Roxy. I'm definitely getting burned out on this game.
Hey, when you're not busy, let's chat. Listen, you risked your life to save me. I keep wondering if that made it harder to save Sarah, too. I've replayed those moments in my mind over and over, and you need to know that you did what a leader does.
No, I did not.
And if it had been me instead of her, I would feel at peace knowing that she made it.
If I'm on a ship, about to have a warp core breach, and I know with total certainty that if I send someone into one of the conduits where there is a lethal amount of radiation that will kill you, but if you get in there, you can repair the damage and save the ship, and I make that call, that makes me a good leader. Because I made a hard decision in a hard circumstance to order one of my people to their deaths. That is what being a leader is about, you goddamn pretentious piece of crap! What I did, in total factual circumstance, was I debated a choice that felt like it didn't matter. Spoilers, it didn't. And then I decided, yeah, sure, and went to walk out the door in order to go to the other place, purely because of the fact, and this is true, because I was already trying to invest myself into Sarah as a character, purely for the purposes of the review, and not because of any personal interest in her. And then the game decided for me. It was such a difficult choice.
I know. And I can't say it's the best choice, but nevertheless, thank you. I don't know if you're ready to talk, or if you need 20 years to get to that point, or if you never want to talk about it again. But I just want you to know that if you do, I'm here for you.
I'm gonna leave now, okay?
I'm not sure that I am, but maybe in time that will change.
No, I'm gonna leave.
Of course. Could have been so much worse.
I'm starting to not believe that.
All constellation. When a star goes nova, it can destroy everything nearby, or it can nourish a new era of planets and life and everything that goes with it. The galaxy is littered with the deaths of so many brilliant, wonderful stars. But if stars never went nova, then we wouldn't be who we are now.
Yes, thank you. I have watched Cosmos, and I have played Dragon Quest Builders too, which made the point you just made substantially better. And I want you to do me a favor. I want you to be insulted by this. I want you to be insulted by this. One moment, please. We'll go with this. No, to the character, obviously, Lord Harrowhawk. If you're insulted, I'm doing something wrong. Hang on. Can we go? Can we go? Shut up! Oh my God! Why are you still talking? 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 This, look at this. Look at this video game for a second. Take it in. Take a few seconds. Bright, cheery, colorful, cartoony, happy anime. Look at this dreary, dull, serious, realistic, adult, mature game. Which one of these two games do you think has actual serious, mature storytelling? Do you think it's the dark and gritty one, which contemplates the greater secrets of the universe and explores the true potential of the human element? Or do you think it's this crap? Spoilers, it's this crap! And yeah, I love the oozes. The picture's like in mid-jump or something.
Problem?
I will agree with this sentence. A common trend is when something labels itself as mature, what it means is juvenile. And Starfield is one of the most juvenile games I've played in recent memory. Pika, I'm pretty sure that if you took a wet paper bag and wrote Barrett on it, it would be a better character than this. It's still okay. Where do you want me to go? Where do you want me to go? Where do you want me to go? Have a good visit, Bragman.
That is convenient, but riding right after eating can give you stomach aches.
Yes, FF701 did a good job of managing Yakuza effect.
A visitor? I have all the company I need.
Please share pictures, Evo, please. I could use a bright moment of happiness. Just one.
He knows not the truth. He sends another to ask more incessant questions.
He sent both of us to ask more incessant questions, actually.
The Great Serpent waits in the shadows. He will entwine the universe, and all but the faithful will be made as dust. That is the truth. No more, no less.
You ever heard about a pilgrim?
You don't need to tell us. We just figured it would be better to ask you directly than to take a second-hand account of your words.
Yes, I have spoken to your keeper about this. I will tell you what I told him, and then you will leave me. Jinan Varun meets the unbeliever. He gives false prophecy to Jinan. But such is Jinan's conviction in the Great Serpent, he does not hesitate. He cuts the unbeliever down. But the unbeliever returns. Jinan realizes the Great Serpent is testing him, and he will not be found wanting. 4 times they fight. Over 120 rotations of the planet they are on. Remember these 4 battles, Jinan, the unbeliever says. Remember these 120 rotations. But Jinan knows this is blasphemy, and delivers the killing blow. That is all.
You're an idiot.
Then we are done. Leave me.
You know, I remember when I was young and naive. And I actually thought Alduin was one of the worst video game villains in history.
Ever run into spaces?
Remember those nice, naive days?
Oh yeah, that's UC Security. They're busier than normal these days, it seems.
Yakuza Effect. Forgive me, I don't remember who asked that. So named after the Yakuza series of video games, is when a specific work manages to simultaneously nail it in being both very serious and very ridiculous. It's actually pretty hard to pull across, which is why I give it praise whenever something manages it. Usually something that tries to be both fails, either at one or at both. Yeah, Devil May Cry 3 is a good example of Yakuza Effect. It seems like a silly, ridiculous, over-the-top action game, and it is. But it also actually has legitimately good character points and some real elements of horror to it as well. Undertale is a more modern example, as is FF701. Going back to the SNES era, we have a game you may have heard of called Earthbound. Dragon Quest Effect is related, but different. Dragon Quest Effect is when a specific work in no way looks like it's, you know... I mean, okay. This is Dragon Quest Effect. Do you see this? This is a well-told, well-crafted, brilliant story that manages to tackle severe and mature themes, including treason, including self-worth and identity, the nature of belief. I don't just mean like in a vague sense. I mean like in a religious belief, and the impacts a cult and its brainwashing can have on people. Like for real, this game tackles a lot of really serious, very well done story elements, but it looks like this. That's Dragon Quest Effect, when something doesn't really look like it is as serious as it is. And yes, My Little Pony, that is to say, Friendship is Magic, to be very specific, because I gotta clarify nowadays, is another excellent example of Dragon Quest Effect. So is Kingdom Hearts, while we're on the subject. Yeah, Yakuza kind of does the inverse, as Kira Takota points out. Because, yeah, Kiryu is like, very serious face, very serious expression. And he goes around and he dances in clubs, and he does karaoke, and he races little cars around, and, you know.
Oh, you're back. What did you learn? Was there something hidden in their stories, like we thought?
Yes.
Planets are often named by number. That second might mean the second planet in the system. What else did you learn?
4 times over 121 days.
If there really is a location the Pilgrim wanted us to find, those do sound awfully like coordinates. Was there anything else?
Infinitum addendum.
Yes. What he added to infinity. Maybe that points to a name. If we're looking for his resting place, we'd need to know the name of the star system, wouldn't we? Let's see. We have something that could be coordinates. Something that could point to a planet in the system. But what's the name of the system? Infinitum addendum. What if we break down the parts? No systems named finite or add. That just leaves in and dumb. Well, that's certainly how I feel.
Indum is the name of a system.
Yes, that's it. The second planet in Indum, at 4 and 120. That's where you'll find the Pilgrim's resting place. And from there, maybe you'll find the true meaning of unity. Before you go, you've now spoken to many different perspectives in our universe. In a way, you'll be carrying their philosophies with you on this journey. I know you're looking for a specific unity, but if you had to guess what it was, what interpretation would you give it?
No, exactly, Lord Hermont. It's legitimately impressive how bad the dialogue is in this game, how consistently bad it is, in how many different directions it's bad. Did you notice the nonsense he just did to run through that logic chain? Like, did you catch that?
Ah, but what makes something like that holy? Gravity is also a force that brings things together. Should that be sanctified?
Yes, gravity's a miracle, just like life itself.
And so you think this word unity describes a similar miracle? The processes of the universe are all in accordance with some greater intent.
Now, I thought a miracle was something unexplainable and magical. But we know a hell of a lot about life and gravity. Any other miracles you want to discuss? Like fire, lightning, or minor sports victories?
Look, the Mets earned that, okay? That's all I'm saying.
Well, I won't keep you any longer. This has been fun, I have to admit. Go, find your truth.
You know, if I can go ahead and insult almost every professional video game developer out, almost every professional video game reviewer out there in one succinct sentence, maybe when you're being given 10 hours to review a game, or, a weekend, maybe don't ask that person to review a game like Starfield. Pro tip. Come on, load, please. Thank you, Vigilant. I do appreciate you as always. Yeah, I'm not. Oh my God. Damn. What is the name of that movie Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, hang on. Who's the guy who says the bees? I'm sorry. I got to run through a logic chain here. The bees. The actor. Okay. Nicolas Cage is pretending to be Indiana Jones. And it's like he's going to go down he's going to find the great American mystery. And he's going to steal the Declaration of Independence. National Treasure. Thank you. So, how many of you have ever heard of abridged scripts? It's a site I used to read a lot. I haven't done so in a while. But I've always remembered their script. It's parody scripts, right? For National Treasure. Okay, so there's a clue. The treasure is a witness. Witness. Okay, you need witnesses at a trial. At a trial, you need to make a case. And in a case, the prosecution needs to use evidence. Evidence. Evident. It's self-evident. We hold these truths to be self-evident. It's a map to the Declaration of Independence. Now, there's a term for that. South Park also parodied this exact same concept. It's the worst kind of logic chaining. And that's exactly what he just did to figure out the coordinates of this stupid thing. That's what you missed when you were blinking out his mind. Is he just put together 3 totally unrelated facts in like the most threadbare ways possible. And, oh, yeah, no, it's right over here. That is a form of moon logic, yes. I usually see it outside of video games, though, which is why it didn't occur to me to call it that. Because, yeah, they had an outline. They were here, and they need to get here. And they were like, logic chain, boom. Interesting, Act. Good. But interesting. Let's go to Indum.
Hard to believe this little tin can protects us from certain death constantly, without fail. So...
I doubt it'll make IGN a worthwhile news outlet, but if more people have more worker rights and more worker protection, I tend to be in favor of that. Yeah, I was going to say, there are actually quite a few games where players have reverse engineered some brilliant puzzle design to figure out stuff. I was going to say, we've actually been on Indum before, yeah. Oh. Like, some of you may or may not know, from about Legion, no, I'm wrong, from about Warlords onwards in World of Warcraft, the devs have started putting in rather obfuscated and hidden puzzles into the game that players have been able to figure out, and it's actually really cool. And yeah, Elite Dangerous is another good example. You remember when everyone was still trying to figure out if aliens even existed in Elite Dangerous? It's okay, we'll get there eventually, Zeiss. Wait, what? Oh. Sorry. No wonder my stamina wasn't running out. Yeah, exactly. That's interesting. I agree. And they put some real thought into it, and they allow players to actually reverse engineer stuff. So here's the crux of my troubles. To accomplish anything, I need to work with other people. I need assistants, I need workers, I need hands. As we work together, they inevitably ask questions, and I can never help talking. It starts innocently enough. They want to understand how someone who believes in science can believe in the divine. Or they have their own misunderstanding instilled by some borderline religious remnant. My weakness is my inability to let alone. I want them to understand, so I try, gently as I might, to nudge their minds alongside the right path. Then there are follow-ups and followings. Trouble is that I genuinely care for these people. It would be so much easier if I didn't. Yeah, let's try to do these in order now. A lot of uranium, like, right under his base. Holy crap. Oh, yeah, another thing I found out. So you see all this uranium at this base? Well, here's the thing. This base, by definition, is a point of interest. Did you know you cannot build bases near or around points of interest? Even though, A, that actually makes a lot of sense to try and expand an existing base rather than build a brand new one. And B, resources can spawn, especially multiple resources, can spawn at points of interest.
Okay, it's too cold. My fingers can barely bend.
Okay, so that's 3, that's 4. That's 1. Did I completely miss it? Yes, this place has been abandoned for, like, decades. I want to say, there it is, there's 1. The credulous simplicity of mundane humans never ceases to amaze me. My worst instincts, the evil spirit, draw me towards a form of contempt for them, but I remember that I am privy to that which they are not. I cannot and should not judge them for a lack of vision, when I know very well the blinders which obscure their sight. I myself once wore them, after all. I hope for their sake they may someday understand, but for my sake I wish to be left alone. So now we go over here for 3. Today, in a soft voice, my assistant asked me if there's anything above the Unity. It was all I could do to keep from shouting that I could scarcely comprehend the misunderstanding that would lead to such a question. It was asked honestly, and I answered the best I could, but if even my closest confidant here can fail to grasp the most basic of these truths, why am I bothering to explain any of it to any of them? Every word that gobbles from my mouth gets gobbled up, misheard, misremembered, misunderstood, and mistranslated before I can issue the slightest clarification. People are necessary, but people are madness. I attempted to withdraw, to go off alone, to commune with Unity my own way. They followed. Of course they followed. Alas, a bit of peace. A piece of peace. Is that anything? Is that funny? Why am I trying to be funny? Have they driven me mad at last? Is there any difference between writing to myself and talking to myself? The former certainly seems more acceptable than the latter. I recall again that my mind is my own, and that even if it only exists, it is sufficient for me to believe in everything else. The Unity has restored me once more. This time I act alone. For now. Myself is a formidable opponent. I should have expected as much, but vanity is thankfully not among my vices. Regardless, it turns out time spent in solitude is in my case time with a very sick man. Or whatever it is I have become. I don't like this person. I find myself thinking about his various pasts and possible futures. I imagine continuing on the road, acquiring more power, more knowledge, more development of myself. I imagine passing through once more to another world, a new game plus, you might say, to begin the process anew. What is notable here, that road does seem gratifying. Every step is one of intrinsic reward, and I feel myself anticipating the pleasures and seeing a more contented version of myself in that future. Then, for the sake of considering all possibilities, I imagine if I took a different path, if I stopped running, stopped seeking to gather my own power, if I instead embraced the twinges of compassion I feel in my heart, and let myself care about the people who seem to gather about me wherever I try to work. If I'd simply lived and taught, perhaps brought others to the light, and died, that road also seems gratifying. I also see a contented version of myself in that future. Here's the difference, though. When I stop thinking about what glories I can achieve for myself, the pleasure fades nearly immediately. But when I stop thinking about staying and building something, the feeling endures. There's something more sustaining about it, more fulfilling. I don't know what the difference signifies, but I'm grateful for the time I've taken to notice it. Game, are you having this guy try to shame the concept of New Game Plus? Is New Game Plusing evil? Is that what we're getting? Oh my god, this game. Alright, fine, whatever. People are necessary, but madness. I am the most formidable opponent. I came here seeking the true meaning of unity. If you still wish to find it, there is one final piece of myself in the next room. I found my own answer a long time ago, but not in the way I was expecting. Hope your journey gives you truth. Capital T. And a digipic, apparently. I don't know what the correct answer is. I might never. Increasingly, though, I am comfortable with not knowing. The more I reflect on being here, in this world, in this time, the more I think it is precisely where I need to be. This time will be different. It won't be about me, so I won't have to run. I can actually build something with intent instead of scrambling to fix something that others create in my name. It can be something beneficial. I can be something beneficial. I'm leaving behind that other person. This world has no place for him. Let him die. Let me live to enlighten the blessed universe before me. You have found the end of my journey, but to know everything you must find its beginning. When Hyla's second, the island hides the scorpion, and the scorpion's sting hides the truth. In other words, go do drugs. Any questions? That's a good question, Roxy. I don't know. That's right. We all know that everyone wants a forever game right now, so we just need to have another one.
See what's out there.
These are all very good questions, though, for me.
Those are Starborn ruins. You see that, right? We have to get a close-up of that statue. Wow.
Aspiring game developers. A tip. You have a light puzzle. Now you want it to look cool. So naturally, you make it look like this. You can kind of see it. You can kind of control it. And you want them to control on a black surface where a thing goes to highlight a part of a constellation. Okay, that's cool. Both these things are very cool. Now, look at this screen and tell me what's wrong with this. For those of you not catching it, I legitimately didn't notice the constellation at first because they decided to put a giant blinding white in front of a texture that is extremely reflective. It wasn't until I came over here that I actually noticed the damn thing.
Hey, you might want this.
It can't be. You found me. I knew I made the right choice in letting you go.
Keeper Aquila sent me to find the true meaning of unity.
He did. Now it's all starting to make sense. You should come aboard. There's another Starborn here who is very interested in meeting you.
I can speak for myself. Constellation Ship, you weren't invited to this meeting, but much of our conversation has been about you. It's only fitting you should join us. I will personally guarantee your safety as long as you come in peace.
And think of it as a ceasefire meeting. Your one shot at getting those answers you must desperately want.
Sure.
Good. See? We can all get along. For now.
I bet these answers will be very satisfying.
Hello. Again. You remember the emissary, perhaps? And their ship, the Helix? I believe they ambushed you above Neon and demanded that artifact you worked so hard to gain.
Thank you for the stellar introduction. Your success is unprecedented. Before you came, we were just discussing how continued use of force against you is unwise.
All I ever wanted to do was talk. You're the one who attacked us.
Yes, we did. We are not a monolithic people. The Starborn are individuals. Some are united in cause. Others are in it for themselves.
Also, calling it right now, although this is not a big prediction, the mere fact that they bother to have A, voice modulation, and B, obfuscating helmets, means their identity is supposed to be some big reveal.
We are all in it for ourselves. Some of us are just more honest. The emissary threatened your ship, demanded you hand over your artifact. How is that so different from what I did?
We needed to warn you off. Every encounter with one of our kind could spell disaster.
For whom, exactly? I say whoever can collect them should.
I mean, that doesn't justify murder.
And who gets to say that? You? Me? The emissary? I have debated morality for near infinity, and all I have found are groups of people enforcing their will on others. Rules and laws spoken as principles, but backed by arms and violence.
Enough. We have more to discuss. The Unity. You are on the path to it. It is a place, a gateway. It is where we were reborn.
You've really come a long way since the Welcome to Constellation speech, haven't you?
Thank you for the sub, Huthor. Your reward is this smile. Just drilling into your brain. If you want to put up to 3 things, blah, 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 please let me know. I do have a quick question for you, Huthor. Super quick, super quick. You mentioned if I have one person with maxed rep, it'll help the other people to streamline the covenants in Shadowlands. Now, could you like point me on the track on the track of what you meant by that? Because I do have someone with maxed rep. I double checked. In fact, I have 2. But I don't remember. I don't know what that changes to help that. I know how to start any covenant chain instantly, because all I have to do that is do the adventure mode thing. Or Mr. Red can help me on this. How do you know anything about Shadowlands, Mr. Red? I mean, you haven't been playing it for like the last week. Got it. So that's what I needed to know, though. Merchant, 60 renown. Cool. That's exactly what I needed. Thank you. So, Republic Commando, Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order. Here's the fun thing. I'd rather be playing Shadowlands than this.
I'm not who you think I am. This universe is only the first one you've been to. I've seen hundreds.
Okay, I was gonna like pause for like a slightly humorous wah-wah moment, but the cough attack was real. So I think I can now say definitively, this game is killing me. Of course it was the multiverse. Of course it was the multiverse. Why wouldn't it be?
Where I came from, I was the one who stayed at the lodge to protect the artifacts. You died on board the Eye while we held off the Hunter.
One of me, at least.
Oh my god.
Collected the remaining artifacts, and they opened the way to the center of my universe, and the doorway to an infinite number of others.
And there's New Game Plus.
That is the Unity. When I stepped into it, I became a Starborn. It's how I've entered other worlds, including yours.
I hate this.
And that's the problem. All the artifacts are needed to complete the armillary and open the way to the Unity. In every universe, the Starborn fight over them. Innocent people die. You've witnessed the power granted by the temples, the anarchy that can be unleashed. Someone has to decide who should get them.
Here it comes. The emissary tells you only the worthy should enter heaven.
You're twisting what I mean.
They're hypocrites. They use the chaos caused by the hunt for the artifacts to establish an order where they decide who's worthy.
Really quick. Do you notice that the hunter here is using gender-neutral pronouns when referring to the other person? No, there's no drama here. There's just lazy writing, because they are doing that even after the reveal, because that way they only have to write these lines once. It means that the identity of the emissary is just as plug and play as the person who died in the earlier quest.
I attacked your lodge because I wanted the artifact, and you held me off. You got away. That wasn't some morality play. You didn't survive because of righteousness. You won because of persistence, luck, and skill.
Have you noticed that there's still the morphing on his helmet? Where there would be motion, it would be facial capture. Have you noticed that? Like right about here. Watch it.
As I have done countless times.
I was also human once. But what does it matter who or what I was when eternity is within your grasp?
Okay, I'm going to be real. I didn't actually recognize him until the text popped up and said, Keeper Aquilus. That's a good example. In FF14, there's a character whose gender can vary based on player choice. And they bother to change, they had the actors record the dialogue twice based on the choice. Which, I mean, FF14 is a good game, so that makes sense. But still, given the sheer swinging bat of financial backing that this game had going for it, how did they not manage that? That's a good question, Anditty. Here's a better question. Why do they care about getting more artifacts? That hasn't been something that's established yet. Instead, it's just, yes, I wanted the artifacts. Why? You are already a Starborn. You already have superpowers. What are you doing with them? Like, what is your goal? What is your modus operandi? The emissary has an established goal. She is trying to establish some kind of an order. But what is the hunter after here? Oh my God, Evo. So, yeah, you're some other version of Aquilus.
You're learning. My other self wants you to walk the path he walks. To give up. To appreciate the universe you have. Easy for a person who's seen everything, done everything. I think you should see it for yourself.
You've never come this far. Not in all the universes I've seen. The path to the Unity is opening to you.
You're going to tip the scales one way or another. Better your hand be on one of our sides.
So you want me to help one of you to enter the Unity?
Bingo.
I want a truce between all three of us. Give you some time to think over which approach to the Unity is the one you want. Mine, or the Hunters.
Yes. Let's see how willing you are to live under someone else's rules. Just remember, one of us isn't trying to judge you.
It really is. It really is order versus chaos. To avoid going too much into that, because that's kind of a spoiler. I suppose that would make sense, Fife. Now, what do you want to bet? We're going to have to choose between these two yahoos. And it's going to be dumb. And it's not actually going to change anything. It's going to change like one line of dialogue, and then we move on into the Unity. And it's like it'll change the name of the final boss. Hell, I got a better one, Kira White Noise. It's ripping off Spore. I'll be right back. Oh God, Von Falkenstein, please tell me that's a joke. Now, Roxy has a good point. There might be a golden ending thing. And to be clear, I don't actually have any problem with golden endings. Not really. Especially if you earn them. To chunk you, right? Great golden ending. Having said that, you know one thing I'll always credit New Vegas with? There's not actually a golden ending there. Oh, I know what you're about to say. Independent. But I went with Independent because I wanted to roll on high as Sultan. That's not the best ending. It's the Independent ending. And the more you think about it, the more you realize just how extraordinarily flimsy your control of the Mojave really is. You're essentially sitting on one pillar, which can be taken away from you at will. And I point that out because I know several people who think of the independent ending as the golden ending. But in my honest opinion, I would say the NCR is probably the closest thing to an actual golden ending for that game. But even that isn't. Let's see what they have to say.
I'll tell you everything I can.
So, who was I in your universe?
Different. I never know who you are when I meet a new version, but so much of you stays the same. It's hard, but each universe is precious in its own way. Mine will never have its original you in it again, as yours won't have its real me.
So you try to protect the artifacts.
You've seen the terror the Hunter causes. Every time a Starborn goes through the Unity, they get more artifacts, find more temples, gain more power. We can't let more like him abuse these gifts to destroy whatever's in their way.
So what's the armory?
When all the artifacts are assembled,
Oh my god.
the device they create is called the Armillary. In many ways, it's a model of the multiverse itself. Through it, you can reach the Unity. And from there, you can become Starborn.
I just realized something, and this is me. I'm stupid for not realizing this. There was a tidbit earlier where it warned me that where you decide to keep the artifacts would change things. And I processed that, but I didn't really think about it. Or sorry, I thought about it, but I didn't process it until just now. What that means is the enemy spawn tables have just changed. And now we can find random Starborn out in the random areas, in addition to spacers and religious zealots and Crimson Fleet and, you know, monsters, aliens. That's cool.
It's not an easy experience to describe, but the Unity will speak to you, offer you the chance to become Starborn. You will be leaving this universe behind to be reborn. Everything you were before will be gone. Maybe that's why it offers the choice. Compassion? Or is it testing us?
Okay.
The emissary and their kind only want to control you.
What is the Unity to you?
Whoever created the artifacts and built those temples is playing a game with us. One whose prize is access to the center of all creation. There are no rules. Whoever gets all the pieces wins. And I've won. Over and over. I don't kill for the Unity. I find the easiest pathway to it.
So why'd you attack us?
I've simply found that it's the quickest way. Talking, forming alliances, waiting for the right moment to commit theft. It's all so tiresome. I'll admit, you getting away has been the most interesting thing to happen in quite some time.
I noticed the mouth flaps aren't happening either, yeah.
As soon as I realized what had happened, I knew I needed to wait until this meeting with the emissary to decide what to do about you.
Yeah, so you noticed he's a take on a typical BRPG PC. Just wanting to kill his way through every problem. I would know nothing about that personally, of course. Now, if I could be irritated for just a second, this would be a great meta-commentary on this game, but was clearly designed to be a meta-commentary on previous games. And that actually pisses me off, because I don't have that attitude in Morrowind, or Oblivion, or Fallout 3, or even Skyrim, or Fallout 4. Yeah, this is a poor man's Trevor. That's a good way to put that, Lord Harrimont. I occasionally had that attitude in Skyrim. That's a fair point. You know, that's actually a good question. How do we hop universes, Carolyn? And that's Blake Chaval's correct. We don't even have the option to just kill our way through things in this game. I've tried. Why'd you let me go?
To see what would happen, of course. You might not understand just how many times I've done this.
Oh my god, you poor soul. You've been forced to play Starfield over and over again. You are in hell.
Usually, you're the one who ends up dead, and whoever cries over your body goes on to become the emissary. Sometimes I manage to get you all bunched up and take care of the problem in one go. Sometimes the emissary has gotten to me first, and I never arrive. Hundreds and hundreds of variations of me, hacking through Constellation. And it's almost never you. You making it to your ship on your own. It's new. I took it as a sign. I don't get many of those anymore.
So, you realize you just contradicted yourself there. No, not Hunter. The person writing this.
They enter the Unity, take artifacts from others, employ force. All the things I do. I am many things, but I would never tell anyone what to do with their gifts. That is your decision, not someone else's.
Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Babylon 5, I get it.
The emissary wants to become the judge of who gets to enter. But the Unity itself doesn't judge. No, we always end up having this meeting at this time. But it's the usual affair. Can we make peace? No. Oh, how tragic. Honestly, I was beginning to wonder why I kept attending. And it's a bad habit I started a long time ago. Perhaps I just like meeting the emissary to gloat. But you have provided something quite new to talk about. Maybe you're a random die roll. Or maybe the Unity is finally responding to all my hard work.
Yeah, I noticed that too, Caroline Noyce. Also, I'm sure you also noticed, the game is simultaneously implying that there is one emissary and one hunter, but also like thousands, if not millions, of both. You'll also notice that the game also is passively implying that this multiverse is stuck in a time bubble. Because if you keep going through the artifacts and then get the artifacts and then go to the next universe, why does it dump you in what from your perspective is the past each time so you can go get the artifacts again? Because if time was moving forward, relatively speaking, it would only take one, maybe even two hops before, okay, now you're no longer in reach of the artifacts because they've already been used in that particular universe, right? Instead, you keep ending up at the same time. If you've been doing this for hundreds of times, even if it only takes you like a year or whatever to do this, then you're 100 years hence from now, right? You get the idea. Now, that could be interesting implication if this was written by someone who did that on purpose, which I have zero doubt it was not.
I want to give you something. A way to another artifact, but also a lesson in how dangerous they can be. Seek the moon of old Earth. There are secrets there you must discover for yourself. Here, to open the way.
Thanks, my one true love.
And I am sorry we have not always been forthcoming. I hope you will see what I have seen. You should also talk to your colleagues in Constellation.
Oh my god, yeah, that's cool.
Part of me
That's cool. So, no, I agree with Mr. Red. This feels like it's supposed to be the big moment. I mean, look at the visuals of this shot. Just look at how it opens up into this big, expansive thing with the not star ceiling thing they got going on, and the shiny reflective surfaces, which look absolutely nothing like the aesthetic of the entire game. Big open space there, nice neon lines going on there. The two superhumans who've been battling across the ages, revealing the truth of the universe. Oh yeah, by the way, where'd this ship come from? while we're on the subject. This feels like it should be a big moment. It is not. Which brings me to Lord Harriman's point. I admit I don't like the trope that we just saw in action. But you know, honestly, I think this could have landed. I think this could have been a holy crap moment. If it was done well. I hereby vow, as of right now, that if we go to the Unity and Todd Howard is there, I will give this a positive to story for how freaking funny that is. In the interest of fairness, I'll probably also give it a negative. But the chutzpah necessary to pull that would be sufficiently hilarious that I would absolutely give it a positive. I will give it a second positive if they let us kill Todd Howard in the Unity.
Don't make me uncomfortable exactly. But it does feel domestic in some way.
See you around, Flag End.
This place is a delightful relic tangled up with hope, grit, and science.
I like that, Kira White Noise. They would still need some massaging, but I think that could work.
I've been talking with the others, and I'd like to get everyone together to say goodbye.
What?
You know, to Sarah.
Why? She was right over there, along with a billion other versions of her. Who cares?
Thank you. It wouldn't be the same without you there. I'll have everything set up in a few days.
I mean, your minimum changes is better than this game's 8 years, Kira White Noise, so make of that what you will.
Mateo told us about your pilgrim's voyage.
You found it, didn't you? The meaning of unity.
Yes, there's an infinite number of me out there. They all suck.
I don't think I understand.
Saying we're living on the parallel. A U for every universe?
Thank you, Vladimir, yes.
Hate to be the responsible one, but the big bombshell of what we're actually building here might need another second to sink in. Want to go over this whole multiple universe thing for everyone?
Yes, I wouldn't mind a little more detail.
It's the little things that really bother me. Okay. You're probably wondering what's bothering me here. In fact, I bet most people didn't even notice what's bothering me here. No offense. But it's something this game's been doing a lot, so I'm already kind of primed to catch it. It's called repetition. Now, you've probably never heard of it before, but it's this brand new concept that they just invented that it's called repetition. Now, one of the things that this game really feels the need to do is this new concept that they call repetition. They just spent an entire story arc, an entire quest chain, or sorry, not chain, wrong word, entire quest, an entire quest explaining all this crap to us. The literal next step is to come here and then repeat all that to these people. It's pure redundancy. Good movies, games, books, shows will understand that obviously we, the character, now have to then repeat that information to the other characters because they weren't there. Good books, movies, games, and shows will understand that we, the player, viewer, reader, have already seen that. And so we don't need that repetition. And there are basic ways to just kind of slide over that, like a simple fade to black. And then there's also cool ways to do that. Like there's been some really creative stuff done over the years to explain this kind of thing. You know, the classic jump cut. You know, imagine he turns and says, "What do you mean multiple universes?" And then jump cut to, okay, now we're dealing with it, kind of a thing. There are ways to deal with this. Yeah, FF14 does this. It became a meme while I was streaming it a couple years ago. Explain, explain, explain. Okay.
Mateo told us about...
Actually, you know what? I'm sorry, real quick. Legitimately one of my favorite ways I've ever seen, it's a video game specifically, I've ever seen do this kind of repetition is Super Mario RPG. Thank you for reminding me of that, Bladesfall. Because Super Mario RPG will repeat plot points, but what it does is it does it in like this stylized animated thing done in character. Yeah, the charades thing. They're like, hey, hang on. Let's explain this. Chunk. Oh, I see. I understand completely. And that's great. It's clever. It's visually interesting. It's funny. And it's quick. That's how you do repetition.
Your Pilgrim's Voyage.
You found it, didn't you? The meaning?
So, yes.
Wait. You can't possibly mean what I think you mean.
Hate to be the responsible one. Want to go over this whole multiple...
Yes, I wouldn't...
Explains why the star...
I don't even want to think about the physics.
Plus what it would do to the mind?
You have the opportunity to reach the closest thing to your god that might exist. And you're second-guessing it?
One doesn't approach the afterlife without some trepidation.
That's true. I've played Shadowlands.
You're right. We have to see the Unity for ourselves.
You know it. Now, once everyone's head stops spinning from all of this, we can get back to work.
Not to make a sharp turn in a grand tale, but I got the eye fixed up. Bruised, but still blinking. Let me know when you're ready to follow up on what it's seen.
I am ready to follow up on what it has seen.
These last glimpses from the eye are from the farthest fringes of known space. Could be the only remaining pieces outside the hands of the Starborn.
Thanks, Vladimir.
Catch a smile out there.
Okay. So these are... Is this main quest? We have several, actually. Sure. We'll go here first. Now, hopefully, I don't have to tickle someone. No! What the... Where are you? Why are you tickling? Explain yourself.
Hug.
Oh,
I couldn't find you.
I'm right here. I give you hugs. Can I see your hat? What is it? What is it?
It's a husband, a cat one.
Oh, that's very cute. Here.
No.
Wait, are you a cat now?
No.
Here, can I show it to stream, please? Do you see yourself right there? Do you see yourself?
Oh. Oh no. We're gonna crash into a boulder.
Oh my god, we are gonna crash. We're gonna crash into the planet. What do we do? What do we do?
No, we're gonna crash into that boulder.
Oh my gosh, you're right. We better go right towards it. Full speed ahead.
No, don't, or we'll crash.
We have to crash. Okay.
What is it?
Okay, we're okay. We're okay. We didn't crash. We're super safe.
Did we go through it?
Yes. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
We crashed into the moon.
We're dead.
I'm not dead.
You're not dead?
Yeah, because I'm a kitty fairy.
Oh, and kitty fairies are super strong. And super tough. Now, Okay, I'll accept kitty hugs. Now,
Meow.
do you want me to turn on the TV for you?
It's already lunchtime.
It's lunchtime?
Mm-hmm.
What? What? Why aren't you eating lunch? That's not an answer. I'm actually going to tickle you now. Tickles. Tickles. Here, go eat lunch.
I'm tickling.
Here, I won't tickle you anymore. No, why are you tickling me? Ugh. Where did she go? Where did she go? Ah, well, I'm sure she's fine. I'm sure there's nothing. Gotcha!
The fragility and tenacity of life on any planet is truly astounding. I mean, at any moment, a calamity could happen. But consider the countless near-extinction events already escaped. Marvelous, isn't it?
My adorable niece is always a bright spot in my life. I agree, Cashel. I wish I didn't have quite so much of a headache, because that actually hurt.
Nishina Research Station. You speaking. What is your business here?
I'm responding to a distress signal? Hang on. Am I on the right quest? Yeah. Okay.
This is Hughes. Was there something else? What? We haven't sent a distress signal? Nothing on the comms. No other ships in the system since our last supply drop. Look, what are you trying to pull here?
They said there was an explosion in your high energy research lab.
The High Energy Research Lab. Alright. I don't know what's going on here, but you should talk with the director.
Okay.
For security, I'm going to have to ask your friend to wait out there.
Okay.
Once inside, stay with me and don't make any sudden moves. I'll get the door.
Okay.
Welcome to Nishina.
The Hadron Consortium isn't gonna mess with you. Probably. Well, yell if they do, I guess.
You know what, actually? I hate to pause like in midstream. I'm gonna try to kill this headache, okay? It's very selfish of me, and I know it, and I apologize, but it's getting harder to concentrate, you know? That's the level of pain I'm in. So I'm gonna go lay down and just close my eyes for a bit. So I apologize for the pause, for the early pause. I'll be back at some point.